Sarah Chen sat at her control station on the research ship Endeavour. The ship moved slowly through space near the edge of human territory. Stars filled the dark view outside the windows. Sarah's job was to listen for signals from other ships, or planets. For 3 months, Sarah had heard nothing but static and empty space noise. The Endeavour was looking for new planets that humans could live on someday. It was boring work most of the time. Sarah drank her coffee and watched the screens in front of her. Then something changed. A weak signal came through her equipment. Sarah sat up straight and turned up the volume. The signal was very faint and full of static. She had to work hard to clean it up and make it clear. "Captain Rivera to the communications room," Sarah called through the ship's speaker system. "Captain." Marcus Rivera walked into the room a few minutes later. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been in space for 20 years and had seen many strange things. "What do you have, Chen?" he asked. "Sir, I picked up a signal from the Kepler 442 system. It's encrypted, but I think I can break the code," Sarah said. The captain looked at the screen showing the signal pattern. "How far away is that system?" "About 40 light years from here, sir. The signal took 40 years to reach us." Captain Rivera nodded. "Can you decode it?" Sarah worked at her computer for an hour. The captain waited and watched. Other crew members came to see what was happening. The signal was unlike anything they had seen before. Finally, Sarah broke through the encryption. Words appeared on her screen in English, but the way they were written was strange, like someone had learned English from old books. "I've got it, sir," Sarah said, "but you need to read this yourself." Captain Rivera read the message out loud. "To the warrior species of Earth. We are the Zephyrian coalition of the Kepler 442 system. We send this message in great fear and desperation. Our worlds are under attack by creatures we call the Devourers. They consume entire planets and everything on them. We are a peaceful people and have no weapons to fight them. We have heard stories of your species and your skill in war. Please, if you can hear this message, we beg for your help. Our children are dying. Our cities are burning. We do not have much time left. The Devourers will reach our home world in what you call 60 Earth days. We will try to evacuate our people, but we have nowhere to go. Please help us. We offer our knowledge and friendship in return." This message repeats. The communications room became very quiet. Everyone stared at the screen. "When was this sent?" Captain Rivera asked. Sarah checked the signal data. "Based on the transmission markers, this was sent about 39 years ago, sir. It took 40 years to reach us because of the distance." Captain Rivera's face went pale. "That means—" "Yes, sir. If their countdown was accurate, the attack happened 1 year ago. We don't know if anyone is still alive." The captain walked to the window and looked out at the stars. The Kepler 442 system was too far away to see, but he looked in that direction anyway. "Sir, there's more," Sarah said. The message contained star charts and information about their location. They also included data about the Devourers. It looks like these creatures have attacked other worlds too. Captain Rivera turned back to the group. "Show me everything." Sarah put the additional data on the main screen. The Zephyrians had included pictures and videos of their attackers. The Devourers looked like giant machines mixed with living tissue. They were the size of small moons and moved through space like huge worms. In the videos, they attached themselves to planets and began eating the surface. "Look at this," Sarah said, pointing to one image. "The Devourers don't just take resources. They seem to eat everything: rocks, water, air, and all living things." Dr. James Park, the ship's science officer, studied the images. "These creatures are unlike anything in our databases. They appear to be biomechanical, part machine, part living organism." "How many of them attacked the Zephyrian system?" Captain Rivera asked. Sarah checked the data. According to this information, they detected 12 large Devourer ships entering their system. Each one was several kilometers long. The captain was quiet for a long moment. Everyone waited for his decision. Chen, encrypt this data and send it to Earth Command immediately. Use the fastest transmission method we have, he ordered. Sir, that will take 6 months to reach Earth, Sarah said. I know, but Earth Command needs to see this. If these devourers are still active, they might attack other systems, maybe even human colonies. Sarah began preparing the transmission. What should I tell Earth Command, sir? Captain Rivera thought carefully. Tell them we have received a distress call from an alien civilization. Tell them these aliens asked for help from Earth's warrior species. Tell them the threat might still be active and could spread to human space. Should we change course and head to the Kepler 442 system? Asked Lieutenant Tom Jackson, the ship's pilot. Captain Rivera shook his head. The Endeavor is a research ship. We have no weapons and no military training. If we went there and found devourers, we would just become their next meal. Dr. Park looked at the data again. Captain, there's something interesting here. The Zephyrians mention that they've heard stories about humans and our skill in war. How would they know about us? Good question, Captain Rivera said. We only made first contact with them 8 months ago through the diplomatic mission to their outer colonies. How would they know about human military capabilities? Sarah found another section of the message. Sir, they explain it here. They say their people trade with many other species across the galaxy. Other aliens told them about humans. According to this, we have a reputation. What kind of reputation? The captain asked. Sarah read from the screen. They say other species call humans the ones who fight back. Apparently, most civilizations in the galaxy are peaceful. When they encounter threats, they either run away or surrender, but humans are known as the species that fights even when the odds are against them. Lieutenant Jackson laughed. Well, they're not wrong about that. Captain Rivera was not laughing. If aliens across the galaxy know about human military strength, that could be good or bad for us. The transmission to Earth was ready. Sarah looked at the captain for final approval. Send it, he ordered. The message left the Endeavor and began its long journey to Earth. Captain Rivera knew that once Earth Command received this information, everything would change. The distress call from the Zephyrians was not just a cry for help. It was a warning that something dangerous was moving through the galaxy. What do we do now, sir? Sarah asked. Captain Rivera looked at the star charts showing the location of the Kepler 442 system. Now we continue our mission and hope that Earth Command can help those aliens, if any of them are still alive. But deep in his mind, Captain Rivera was thinking about something else. The Zephyrians had called humans a warrior species. They had asked for help from Earth's military. What they didn't know was that they had just sent a signal that would wake up the most powerful war machine in human history. Earth had been preparing for threats from space for over a century. The aliens had no idea what they had just triggered. Admiral Helena Vasquez was drinking her morning coffee when the priority message arrived at Earth Command. The red alert signal flashed on her desk computer, and she knew something important was happening. Admiral Vasquez had gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She had been in charge of Earth's military space operations for 10 years. In all that time, she had never received a message like this one. She read Captain Rivera's transmission 3 times. Then she called for an emergency meeting with the IALCA Joint Chiefs of Staff. 2 hours later, Admiral Vasquez sat at a large table with the most important military leaders on Earth. General Robert Hayes commanded the Space Marines. Admiral Chen Wu was in charge of the fleet. General Sarah Martinez ran intelligence operations. They all looked serious as they studied the alien message. Gentlemen, ladies, Admiral Vasquez said, we have a situation. An alien civilization has asked for our help against an unknown enemy. The attack happened a year ago, but we don't know if the threat is still active. General Hayes looked at the pictures of the devourers. These things look like they could eat a whole planet. According to the alien data, that's exactly what they do, Admiral Vasquez replied. They consume everything: rocks, water, plants, animals, and people. Admiral Wu studied the star charts. The Kepler 442 system is 40 light years away. Even our fastest ships would take months to get there. That's where you're wrong, Admiral Vasquez said with a small smile. It's time to tell you about Project Excalibur. The room became very quiet. Project Excalibur was so secret that only 5 people on Earth knew about it. Admiral Vasquez was one of them. For the past 50 years, Earth has been building a secret defense fleet, she explained. We call them our ultimate deterrent. 12 Dreadnought-class warships, each one powered by quantum tunnel drives. General Martinez leaned forward. Quantum tunnel drives? I thought those were still theoretical. Not anymore, Admiral Vasquez said. These ships can cross 40 light years in 4 days instead of 4 months. They've been hidden in dark space, beyond Pluto, waiting for activation. She pressed a button on her computer, and a holographic image appeared above the table. It showed a massive warship that was 3 kilometers long. The ship was black and covered with weapon systems. Each dreadnought carries a crew of 5,000, Admiral Vasquez continued. The crews have been in rotating cryogenic sleep for the past 20 years, waiting for this moment. Admiral Wu stared at the hologram. How did you keep this secret from us? Need-to-know basis, Admiral Vasquez replied. Congress approved the project in 2055 after we detected the first signs of hostile alien activity in distant systems. They wanted Earth to be ready for anything. General Hayes studied the ship design. What kind of weapons do they carry? Admiral Vasquez smiled again. Everything. Plasma cannons, quantum torpedoes, particle beam arrays, and kinetic bombardment systems. Each ship has enough firepower to level a small moon. The room was silent as everyone absorbed this information. There's more, Admiral Vasquez said. The alien message mentioned that other species call us the ones who fight back. They're right. Most civilizations in the galaxy are peaceful. When they face threats, they surrender or run away. But humans fight. She stood up and walked to the large window overlooking Earth Command. The aliens asked for help from a warrior species. They have no idea what they've just awakened. General Martinez checked her computer. Admiral, if we activate the fleet now, how long before they can launch? The activation sequence takes 6 hours, Admiral Vasquez replied. The crews need time to wake up from cryo-sleep and prepare their ships. But once they launch, they can reach the Kepler 442 system in 4 days. Admiral Wu looked concerned. What if this is a trap? What if the aliens are lying? Admiral Vasquez had thought about this. Then we'll find out when we get there. But look at these images of the devourers. Look at the data about planetary consumption. This is either the most elaborate fake in history, or it's real. She turned back to the group. I'm recommending that we activate Hot Orders Final. Everyone in the room became very tense. Hot Orders Final was the highest military alert status in human history. It had never been used before. It meant that Earth faced a threat that could destroy all human civilization. Are you sure about this, Helena? General Hayes asked. Admiral Vasquez nodded. If these devourers are real and they're still active, they could attack human colonies next. We need to stop them before they get closer to Earth. She sat back down at the table. But there's another reason. The aliens asked us for help. They're dying, and they turned to us because they heard we're fighters. If we ignore their call, what does that say about humanity? Admiral Wu was reading the alien message again. It says here that they offer their knowledge and friendship in return for our help. The Zephyrians are highly advanced, Admiral Vasquez said. Their technology could benefit humanity for centuries. But that's not why we should help them. Then, why? General Martinez asked. Admiral Vasquez looked each of them in the eyes. Because it's the right thing to do, because we're humans, and humans protect those who can't protect themselves. The vote was unanimous. Hot Orders Final was approved. Admiral Vasquez walked to her command console and entered her authorization code. Across the solar system, hidden bases began to receive activation signals. Beyond Pluto, in the cold darkness of space, 12 massive ships started to come alive. Their crews began waking up from cryogenic sleep. Computer systems activated. Weapon systems came online. Engines that had been cold for decades started to warm up. The crews of the dreadnoughts had trained for this moment for years. They were volunteers who had given up normal lives to sleep in space, waiting for the day when Earth needed them. Today was that day. Captain Elena Santos woke up in her cryopod aboard the flagship Retribution. She had been asleep for 6 months. As the pod opened, she saw her bridge crew waking up around her. Everyone moved quickly but calmly. They had practiced this many times. "Status report," Captain Santos called out as she got dressed in her uniform. "All systems coming online, Captain," replied Commander Mark Thompson, her second in command. "We're receiving activation orders from Earth Command." Captain Santos walked to the main bridge of her ship. Through the windows, she could see the other 11 dreadnoughts coming to life. Their lights were turning on, and their engines were starting to glow. "Open a channel to all ships," she ordered. "Channel open, Captain." Captain Santos spoke to the crews of all 12 ships. "This is Captain Santos of the Retribution. Today, we received a distress call from an alien civilization under attack. We are humanity's response to that call. We have trained for this moment our entire lives. Now we get to show the galaxy what humans do when innocent people need help." On her command screen, she could see the faces of the other 11 ship captains. They all looked determined and ready. "Our mission is simple," Captain Santos continued. "We jump to the Kepler 4042 system. We assess the situation. If the threat is still active, we eliminate it. If there are survivors, we protect them." She paused and looked out at the stars. "The aliens called us a warrior species. They asked for help from Earth's fighters. Let's show them they were right to call us." The 12 ships of Project Excalibur finished their activation sequence. Their quantum tunnel drives charged up with energy that could tear holes in space itself. On Earth, Admiral Vasquez watched the fleet on her monitors. "Execute jump to Kepler 442, she ordered. "Jump command confirmed," came the reply from Captain Santos. Space around the 12 ships began to bend and twist. Reality itself seemed to break apart as the quantum tunnels opened. In a flash of brilliant light, the ships disappeared. Admiral Vasquez sat back in her chair. Earth's most powerful weapons were now racing across 40 light-years of space at impossible speed. In 4 days, they would arrive at an alien world that might already be dead. But if anyone was still alive there, they were about to discover that asking humans for help was the best decision they ever made. The quantum tunnel drive made strange sounds as it pulled the 12 human ships through folded space. Captain Elena Santos stood on the bridge of the Retribution and watched the stars stretch into long lines outside the windows. For 4 days, the ships traveled through the tunnel at impossible speeds. The crews worked constantly, checking weapons and preparing for whatever they might find at the end of their journey. "Jump completion in 10 minutes, called out Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez from the navigation station. Captain Santos activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, prepare for normal space transition. We don't know what we'll find when we arrive." The other 11 ships were traveling in formation with the Retribution. Captain Santos could see them through the quantum tunnel as glowing shapes in the distance. "Jump completion in 30 seconds, Rodriguez announced. Captain Santos gripped the arms of her command chair. "All stations, report ready status." "Weapons ready," called the tactical officer. "Shields ready," said the defense officer. "Sensors ready," reported the science officer. "Jump complete," Rodriguez said. The tunnel collapsed, and the ships returned to normal space. Stars appeared outside the windows, no longer stretched into lines. But something was wrong with this star system. "Captain," said Dr. Lisa Park from the science station. I'm reading massive debris fields throughout the system. It looks like planets. Captain Santos looked at the main screen. Where there should have been solid planets, she saw clouds of rock and metal floating in space. The inner system was full of debris that had once been worlds. How many planets are missing? She asked. Dr. Park checked her readings. 2 inner planets are completely gone, Captain. There's nothing left but rubble. The 3rd planet... Wait. She adjusted her sensors and her face went pale. Captain, the 3rd planet is still there, but it's being consumed. I'm detecting massive biomechanical structures attached to its surface. Captain Santos stood up. Put it on the main screen. The image that appeared made everyone on the bridge gasp. The planet looked like an apple with huge worms eating through it. 12 enormous ships were attached to the surface, each one the size of a small moon. They were gray and covered with what looked like both metal and living tissue. The Devourers, Captain Santos said quietly. Captain, called Lieutenant Commander James Wilson from the communications station. I'm picking up scattered transmissions from the outer system. They're in the same language as the distress call. The Zephyrians, Captain Santos said. Some of them are still alive. She turned to the tactical officer. Commander Thompson, what's the status of the Devourer fleet? Commander Mark Thompson studied his screens. 12 large vessels, each approximately 8 kilometers long. They appear to be focused on planetary consumption and are not moving. I'm not detecting any weapons that could threaten us at long range. Captain Santos opened a channel to the other ship captains. All ships, this is Santos. We have visual confirmation of the Devourer fleet. They're currently feeding on the 3rd planet of this system. There are Zephyrian survivors scattered throughout the outer system. Captain David Kim of the Dreadnought Vengeance responded first. Captain Santos, should we engage immediately? Negative, Captain Santos replied. We need intelligence first. Wilson, can you translate those Zephyrian transmissions? Lieutenant Commander Wilson worked at his station for several minutes. Captain, I'm using the translation protocols from the original distress call. The survivors are reporting that the Devourers arrived 13 months ago. They've consumed the first 2 planets completely and are now finishing the homeworld. How many survivors? Captain Santos asked. Difficult to determine exactly, but I estimate several million Zephyrians are scattered across mining stations and research outposts in the outer system. They've been hiding and trying to evacuate for over a year. Dr. Park looked up from her science station. Captain, I'm analyzing the Devourer ships. They don't appear to be built for combat. They're designed purely for planetary consumption. I don't see traditional weapons systems. Captain Santos walked to the tactical display. Explain. Their ships are basically giant organic factories, Dr. Park said. They attach to planets and break down all matter into usable materials. They rebuild themselves constantly and grow, larger as they consume more material. Commander Thompson frowned. If they don't have weapons, how do they deal with defending themselves? According to the Zephyrian data, they don't need to, Dr. Park replied. Most species either flee or surrender. When they see ships this large, the Devourers have never faced organized military resistance. Captain Santos smiled grimly. Then they're about to learn something new. She opened the channel to all ships again. All captains, the enemy appears to have no experience with actual warfare. They rely on size and fear rather than tactics. We're going to show them the difference. Captain Martinez of the Dreadnought Thunder asked, What's our approach, Captain Santos? Captain Santos studied the tactical display. The Devourer ships were spread around the dying planet like feeding animals. They weren't in any kind of defensive formation. We're going to use standard pack tactics, she said. Divide into 3 squadrons of 4 ships each. Alpha Squadron will attack from the north. Beta Squadron from the south. Gamma Squadron will provide support and rescue operations. She paused to let the other captains plan their approaches. Remember, These creatures have consumed dozens of civilizations. They've killed billions of innocent people. Today, that stops. The 12 human ships began to move into attack formation. They had trained for this kind of operation for years, but this was their first real battle. "Captain," Dr. Park said, "I'm detecting movement from the Devourer ships. They seem to be noticing our presence." On the main screen, they could see the massive biomechanical ships starting to detach from the planet's surface. They moved slowly, like giant slugs crawling through space. "They're not very fast," observed Commander Thompson. "No," Captain Santos agreed. "But look at their size. Each one of those ships could swallow our entire fleet." Lieutenant Commander Wilson received another transmission. "Captain, the Zephyrian survivors are asking who we are. They want to know if we're here to evacuate them." Captain Santos thought for a moment. "Tell them we're from Earth. Tell them we received their distress call and we're here to help." Wilson sent the message and waited for a response. When it came back, he looked surprised. "Captain, they're asking if we're really the warrior species. They called for help. They say they never expected anyone to actually come." Captain Santos activated the external communication system so her voice would reach the Zephyrian survivors. "This is Captain Elena Santos of the Earth vessel Retribution. We received your distress call. We're here to stop the Devourers and protect your people." The response came back immediately, translated by the ship's computer. "Humans of Earth, we did not know if our message reached you. We did not know if you would come. Our world is dying. Our children are scattered across space with nowhere to go." Captain Santos felt anger building inside her. These aliens had sent a desperate message 40 years ago, hoping someone would help them. They had waited in fear while their world was destroyed, not knowing if help would ever come. "Zephyrian survivors, this is Captain Santos. Your wait is over. We are here, and we are going to stop this." She turned to her tactical officer. "Commander Thompson, target the nearest Devourer ship. All weapons." "Target locked, Captain." Captain Santos looked at the massive enemy ship on her screen. It was slowly turning toward them, probably trying to figure out what these small human ships were doing. "All ships, this is Santos. The Zephyrians have been suffering for over a year because these creatures thought no one would fight back. They were wrong." She paused and looked around her bridge. Her crew was ready for battle. "All ships, engage. Show them what happens when you threaten innocent people in human space." The battle for the Kepler 442 system was about to begin. The Devourers had consumed dozens of civilizations without resistance, but they had never faced humans before. They were about to learn that some species fight back. The first human weapons fired at exactly 14:32 ship time. 12 dreadnoughts opened fire simultaneously on the nearest Devourer ship. Plasma beams and quantum torpedoes struck the massive biomechanical hull. The Devourer ship, which was 8 kilometers long, shuddered under the impact. Sections of its living metal skin began to burn and peel away. "Direct hits," reported Commander Thompson from the tactical station. "The enemy vessel is damaged but still functional." Captain Santos watched the Devourer ship's response. It turned slowly toward the human fleet, moving like a wounded animal. But instead of fighting back, it sent out a strange signal. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Wilson, "the Devourer ship is transmitting something. It's not a language, more like instructions." "Instructions to who?" Captain Santos asked. Dr. Park looked up from her science station with alarm. "Captain, all 12 Devourer ships are responding to that signal. They're detaching from the planet and moving toward us." On the main screen, they could see the enormous ships crawling through space. They moved in a line, like a parade of giant metal whales. "They're not spreading out," observed Commander Thompson. "They're bunching together." Captain Santos smiled. "They don't know how to fight. They're used to scaring enemies away, not actual combat." She opened the channel to all human ships. "All squadrons, the enemy is presenting us with a perfect target formation. Alpha and Beta Squadrons, execute flanking maneuver 7. Gamma Squadron, prepare for rescue operations. The human ships moved with precision that the Devourers had never seen before. 4 ships swung wide to the left while 4 more went to the right. The remaining 4 ships held position to provide support. The Devourers continued moving forward in their straight line, apparently not understanding what the humans were doing. Alpha Squadron in position, reported Captain Kim from the Vengeance. Beta Squadron in position, called Captain Martinez from the Thunder. Execute crossfire pattern, Captain Santos ordered. 24 plasma cannons opened fire from 3 different directions. The Devourers found themselves caught in a deadly triangle of human weapons. Their biomechanical hulls began to burn and crack under the concentrated assault. The second Devourer ship is breaking apart, Dr. Park reported. Internal explosions detected. Through the main screen, they watched the massive ship split open like a rotten fruit. Strange fluids and mechanical parts spilled out into space. But the Devourers were not helpless. The remaining ships began to change shape, growing new appendages and weapon-like structures. "Captain," Commander Thompson called out, "the enemy ships are adapting. They're growing what look like weapons." Long tentacle-like arms emerged from the Devourer ships. At the ends of these arms, organic cannons began to form. The creatures were literally rebuilding themselves for war. "Interesting," Captain Santos said. "They can adapt, but it takes time. All ships, increase rate of fire. Don't give them time to finish changing." The human fleet doubled their attack speed. Quantum torpedoes and particle beams struck the Devourers faster than they could adapt. 2 more enemy ships began to break apart. "Captain Santos," called Captain Williams from the Dreadnought Hammer, "we're receiving communications from Zephyrian survivors. They're asking if they should evacuate the area." Captain Santos thought quickly. The battle was spreading across a large area of space. The Zephyrian survivors were scattered on small stations and ships throughout the outer system. "Tell them to stay where they are for now," she decided. "We'll come to them when this is finished." A new alarm sounded on the bridge. "Captain," Dr. Park called out, "I'm detecting something unusual. The largest Devourer ship is different from the others." Captain Santos looked at the tactical display. One Devourer ship was indeed larger than the rest. It was also staying back from the battle, surrounded by the others. "It's not trying to adapt weapons like the others," Dr. Park continued. "It's just watching." Commander Thompson checked his readings. "Captain, that ship is sending constant signals to all the other Devourer vessels. I think it might be their command ship." Captain Santos understood immediately. "A hive mind. The big ship is the brain, and the others are just extensions of it." She opened the channel to all human ships. "All captains, new priority target. The largest Devourer ship appears to be their command vessel. If we destroy it, the others might lose coordination." "Captain Santos," called Captain Rodriguez from the Dreadnought Storm, "should we focus all fire on the command ship?" "Negative," Captain Santos replied. "We need to fight our way through the smaller ships first, but be ready for a concentrated assault on the command vessel." The battle continued for 2 hours. The human ships used tactics the Devourers had never encountered. They would attack from one direction, then quickly move to attack from another angle. They concentrated fire on single targets until they were destroyed, then moved to the next target. The Devourers tried to adapt, but they were too slow. Their biomechanical systems could change, but it took time. The humans never gave them that time. "7th Devourer ship destroyed," reported Commander Thompson. 5 smaller ships, remaining plus the command vessel. Captain Santos noticed something on her tactical display. The remaining ships are trying to protect the command vessel. They're forming a defensive circle around it. "Finally learning some tactics," observed Dr. Park. "Too late," Captain Santos said grimly. "All ships, prepare for final assault. We're going to punch through their defensive line and take out their leader." She opened a channel to the Zephyrian survivors. "This is Captain Santos. We're about to finish this battle. Stay in your shelters until we give the all-clear signal." The human ships regrouped for their final attack. The 5 remaining Devourer ships had indeed formed a protective circle around their command vessel. They had finally adapted some weapons, and were ready to fight back. "Alpha Squadron, attack the defensive line from the north," Captain Santos ordered. "Beta Squadron, hit them from the south. Gamma Squadron, follow me through the gap we create." The final phase of the battle was the most violent. The Devourers fought desperately to protect their command ship. Their newly grown weapons fired. Streams of corrosive materials and energy blasts that could melt human ship armor. The dreadnought Valor took heavy damage to its port side. The Justice lost 2 weapon arrays, but the human ships continued their assault with mechanical precision. "Gap opening in their defensive line," reported Captain Kim. "The northern defenders are falling back." "Gamma Squadron, with me, Captain," Santos ordered. "We're going for the command ship." 4 human ships punched through the gap in the Devourer defensive line. The command ship, which was 12 kilometers long, loomed in front of them like a mechanical mountain. "All weapons target." "The command ship's center section," Captain Santos commanded. The 4 ships unleashed everything they had: plasma cannons, quantum torpedoes, particle beams, and kinetic bombardment rounds all struck the massive command vessel at the same time. The ship's biomechanical hull began to crack and burn. Strange lights flickered inside it as internal systems failed. "Captain," Dr. Park called out excitedly, "the command ship is sending distress signals to the remaining Devourer vessels, but they're not responding properly. I think we're disrupting their hive-mind connection." The remaining Devourer ships began to move erratically. Without clear commands from their leader, they seemed confused and lost. "Continue firing on the command ship," Captain Santos ordered. "Don't let it recover." The massive Devourer command vessel tried to retreat, but it was too damaged and too slow. Human weapons continued to tear through its hull until finally internal explosions began to cascade through its entire structure. "The command ship is breaking apart," Commander Thompson reported. Through the main screen, they watched the giant ship split into pieces. When it finally exploded, the blast was visible across the entire star system. The remaining Devourer ships stopped moving completely. Without their command vessel, they seemed unable to function. "All enemy vessels have stopped," Dr. Park reported. "I'm not detecting any organized activity from any of them." Captain Santos sat back in her command chair. The battle was over. "All ships, report status," she called out. One by one, the 11 other ship captains reported in. They had taken damage, but no human ships were lost. The entire Devourer fleet was either destroyed or disabled. "Open a channel to the Zephyrian." "Survivors," Captain Santos ordered. When the channel was open, she spoke to the scattered alien refugees. "This is Captain Santos of the Earth Fleet. The Devourer threat has been eliminated. You are safe now." The response came back immediately, full of joy and disbelief. The Zephyrians had been hiding in fear for over a year. Now suddenly their nightmare was over. Captain Santos looked out at the debris field that had once been Devourer ships. The creatures that had consumed dozens of civilizations were finally stopped. But she knew this was just the beginning. If Devourers existed here, they might exist elsewhere in the galaxy. And now the galaxy knew that humans would fight back. 3 days after the battle, Captain Santos stood in the cargo bay of the Retribution, watching human Marines unload rescue pods. Each pod contained Zephyrian survivors who had been hiding on disabled ships and damaged space stations throughout. The system. The Zephyrians were tall, thin beings with blue-gray skin and large eyes. They moved gracefully, despite their exhaustion and fear. Many of them looked at the human soldiers with wonder, as if they couldn't believe their rescuers were real. "Captain," said Dr. Park, walking up beside her, "the final count is in. We've rescued 4.7 million Zephyrians from the outer system. That's more than we expected." Captain Santos nodded. "Any word from the medical teams about their condition?" Most are suffering from malnutrition and stress, but they'll recover, Dr. Park replied. Dr. Martinez says they're remarkably resilient for a species that's been hiding in space for over a year. Through the cargo bay windows, Captain Santos could see the other human ships conducting similar rescue operations. The dreadnought Thunder had been converted into a temporary hospital ship. The Storm was collecting Zephyrian technology and cultural artifacts that had been scattered during the evacuation. "Captain Santos to the bridge," came Lieutenant Commander Wilson's voice over the ship's communication system. Captain Santos made her way to the bridge, where Wilson was working at the communication station with an excited expression. "Captain, we're receiving transmissions from multiple sources," Wilson reported. "Not just Zephyrian survivors. We're getting signals from all over this sector of the galaxy." "What kind of signals?" Captain Santos asked. Wilson adjusted his equipment and put the transmissions on the main speakers. They heard voices speaking in different alien languages, all talking at the same time. "I've been running them through our translation computers," Wilson explained. "Captain, dozens of different species have been monitoring our battle with the Devourers. Word is spreading across the galaxy about what happened here." Dr. Park looked up from her science station. "Captain, I'm detecting ships approaching from multiple directions. Long-range sensors show at least 20 different vessels, all from different species." Captain Santos felt a mix of concern and curiosity. "Are they hostile?" "No, Captain," Wilson said. "They're sending peaceful contact signals. They want to talk to us." Captain Santos sat in her command chair and thought about this development. The human fleet had come to rescue the Zephyrians, but now it seemed they had attracted the attention of the entire galactic community. "Open a channel to Admiral Vasquez on Earth," she ordered. It took several minutes to establish the quantum communication link across 40 light-years. When Admiral Vasquez appeared on the main screen, she looked tired but pleased. "Captain Santos, congratulations on your victory," Admiral Vasquez said. "We've been monitoring your reports. The Devourer threat has been eliminated?" "Yes, Admiral," Captain Santos replied. "But we have a new situation. Multiple alien species are approaching our position. It appears the entire galaxy knows about our battle." Admiral Vasquez leaned forward in her chair. "How many species?" "At least 20 so far, possibly more coming. They all want to make contact with Earth." Admiral Vasquez was quiet for a moment, considering the implications. "Captain, you've just announced humanity's presence to the galactic community in the most dramatic way possible. Every species out there now knows that humans are willing and able to fight threats that everyone else runs from." "What are your orders, Admiral?" "Stand by for instructions," Admiral Vasquez said. "I need to contact the President and the United Nations. This has become much bigger than a rescue mission." The transmission ended, leaving Captain Santos to deal with the approaching alien ships. She decided to start with the Zephyrians, who knew her people best. "Wilson, contact the senior Zephyrian survivor. I want to speak with their leader." A few minutes later, an elderly Zephyrian appeared on the main screen. She had the same blue-gray skin as the others, but her large eyes showed great intelligence and sadness. "I am Elder Zaraith of the Zephyrian Coalition," she said through the translation computer. "Captain Santos, our people owe you a debt that can never be repaid. You have saved our entire civilization." Captain Santos stood and nodded respectfully. "Elder Zaraith, we came because you asked for help. Any human would have done the same." The Zephyrian leader's eyes widened. "Captain, you do not understand. We sent our distress call to many species across the galaxy over the past century. Only Earth responded. Only humans came to help us." This surprised Captain Santos. "Other species received your message?" "Yes," Elder Zaraith replied sadly. "The Confederated Worlds, the Stellar Alliance, the Peaceful Union, they all received our calls for help. They sent messages of sympathy, but no ships. They said the distance was too great, the risk too high." Captain Santos felt a surge of anger. These alien civilizations had known about the Devourer threat for a century and had done nothing to stop it. Elder Zaraith, what can you tell me about the other species that are approaching our position? The Zephyrian leader looked thoughtful. Some are our allies who feel guilty for not helping us. Others are curious about your people. And some, she paused. Some are concerned about humans. They have never seen such effective military force, used so decisively. Before Captain Santos could respond, Wilson called out from his station. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Vasquez is back on the line. Admiral Vasquez appeared on the screen again, but this time she was not alone. Captain Santos could see other people in military uniforms behind her. Captain Santos, this is now a diplomatic first contact situation, Admiral Vasquez announced. The President has authorized you to represent Earth in discussions with the alien species. You are now Earth's official ambassador to the galactic community. Captain Santos felt the weight of this responsibility. Admiral, I'm a military officer, not a diplomat. You're the human who saved an entire alien civilization, Admiral Vasquez replied. That makes you the perfect person to speak for Earth. The aliens want to talk to the people who stopped the Devourers. That's you and your crews. Wilson looked up from his station. Captain, the lead alien ship is requesting permission to come alongside. They want to meet with you in person. Captain. Santos took a deep breath. Everything was happening very quickly. 3 days ago, she had been fighting giant biomechanical monsters. Now she was about to become Earth's representative to alien civilizations. Admiral, what should I tell them? Admiral Vasquez smiled. Tell them the truth, Captain. Tell them that humans protect those who cannot protect themselves. Tell them we don't want to conquer or control anyone. We just want peace. But if anyone threatens innocent people, they'll have to deal with us. The transmission ended. Captain Santos looked around her bridge at the crew that had helped her save millions of lives. Wilson, open a channel to all the approaching alien ships, she ordered. When the channel was open, Captain Santos spoke clearly and calmly. This is Captain Elena Santos of the Earth Vessel Retribution, representing the human species. To all ships approaching this system, you are welcome to make peaceful contact. She paused and looked out at the stars. We came here because the Zephyrians asked for help. We will always answer such calls. We hope to build friendships with peaceful species throughout the galaxy. Her voice became more serious. But let me be clear about something. We have learned that many of you knew about the Devourer threat and chose not to act. We understand that each species must make its own decisions. However, if we encounter similar threats in the future, we will not wait for galactic consensus. We will act to protect innocent lives. The responses came back immediately in dozens of different languages. Some aliens expressed gratitude. Others offered friendship and alliance. A few sounded concerned about human military capabilities. Captain. Santos listened to the translations for several minutes. Then she made her decision about how to respond. To all species listening to this transmission, she said, humans seek peace and cooperation. We offer our friendship to those who share these values. We do not seek to rule or control anyone. She looked directly into the camera that would transmit her image to the alien ships. But we will not stand by while innocent people suffer. We will not ignore calls for help. We will not let fear of danger stop us from doing what is right. Stan. Santos ended the transmission and sat back in her command chair. In the past week, she had traveled 40 light years, fought an impossible battle, and become Earth's first galactic ambassador. But most importantly, she had delivered a message to the galaxy. Humans fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. And from now on, everyone in the galaxy would know that when innocent people called for help, humans would answer that call. The age of human expansion into the galaxy had begun, and it had started not with conquest, but with compassion. The aliens had asked for help from a warrior species. Now they understood that the most dangerous warriors were those who fought not for conquest, but for justice.